The chandeliers burn bright like cold fire, 1,000 crystal knives hanging over the ballroom, catching every fake smile and turning it into something sharp. Champagne bubbles rise and pop, too fast, too loud, while men in tuxedos worth more than houses slap each other on the back and laugh like they own the air itself. The string quartet soars away at some rich white song nobody really listens to. And there, half hidden in the shadows near the grand marble staircase, moves a man the room pretends isn't even there. Marcus Hayes, 63 years old, skin dark and shining under the lights, grey janitor uniform pressed neat the way only proud men press cheap clothes. 20 years pushing that same mop across these same floors, watching these same kinds of people spill caviar and secrets and never once say thank you. Tonight the mop water is grey with their footprints. Tonight the bucket smells like money and shame. Then it happens. The music falters. A young voice, drunk on whiskey and power, slices through the glitter. Ethan Whittaker, 34, blonde, blue-eyed, the new CEO who inherited the company the way kings used to inherit thrones, grabs the microphone from the band leader like it's his birthright. His tie is loose, cheeks red, eyes glassy with something meaner than alcohol. He points one manicured finger straight at Marcus. The room turns, every head swivels, every phone lifts like a weapon. "Hey, old man," Ethan's voice booms, too loud, too proud. "Yeah, you, the floor's filthy right here by my feet. Why don't you get down on your knees and shine it for us? Show these fine people how it's done." The laughter explodes. It rolls across the ballroom like a wave, crashing against crystal glasses, splashing onto silk gowns. Men double over. Women cover their mouths but their eyes dance. Someone yells, "Do it, boy," and the word boy hangs in the air like smoke. Phones glow red, recording. The orchestra has gone dead silent. You can hear the slow drip of champagne from a glass someone dropped. Drip, drip, drip. Marcus freezes. The mop handle trembles in his rough, cracked hands. His shoulders rise and fall once, slow, like a man deciding whether to breathe or to die. The room waits for him to shrink, to bow, to disappear the way black men in uniforms are supposed to disappear. 20 years of eyes sliding past him, 20 years of being invisible, and now every eye is feasting on him like he's the main course. He lowers his gaze to the marble. The floor reflects the chandeliers, reflects all those shining, laughing faces. For a second it looks like he's breaking. His knees bend. The mop clatters softly against the bucket. Marcus Hayes, proud Marcus, father of 2, grandfather of 4, deacon at Mount Zion on Sundays, goes down slow, deliberate, until both knees touch the cold stone. A woman gasps. Someone whistles. Ethan Whittaker raises his champagne flute, high like a conquering general, grinning so wide you can see every perfect tooth his daddy's money bought. But Marcus doesn't reach for the rag. His back stays straight, strong, unbroken, the way his own father taught him when white foremen used to talk the same kind of trash back in Mississippi. The room leans in, hungry for the kill. Phones zoom. Ethan sips his victory, and then Marcus does something nobody expects. His right hand, slow as sunrise, slides inside the old grey janitor jacket, fingers thick from years of labor close around something thick, something heavy. The room inhales and holds it. He pulls out an envelope. Not just any envelope. Gold embossed, thick cream paper, the kind that costs more than most folks make in a week. The Whittaker family crest glitters on the seal like it's mocking every soul in the room. Marcus rises, 6 feet of quiet thunder. The mop stays on the floor like a forgotten thing. He stands tall, shoulders square, eyes lifting now, dark and deep and ancient as justice itself. Silence swallows the ballroom whole. You could hear a diamond drop. Ethan's glass freezes halfway to his lips. The smile slips off his face like melting ice. Marcus holds the envelope up between 2 fingers, letting the chandelier light dance across the gold. Every eye locks on it. Phones forget to record. Someone's breath catches loud enough to echo. Marcus doesn't say a word yet. He doesn't need to. That envelope is screaming for him. It's screaming 20 years of nights he stayed late without pay, 20 years of picking up after men who never learned his name, 20 years of swallowing fire so his family could eat. It's screaming the truth nobody in this room wants to hear. Ethan finds his voice first, thin now, cracked. What is that? Marcus finally speaks, low, steady, every syllable carved from granite. This, young man, is 51% of Whittaker Global Industries, signed over to me, quiet and legal, by your granddaddy himself the week before he passed. Said a man who'll clean up after anybody without losing his soul deserves to own the place doing the messing. The room explodes inward, gasps ricochet off the walls. A woman drops her purse, pearls scatter like hail. Ethan's face goes white as the marble under his feet, champagne sloshing over his trembling hand. The same hand that just pointed and mocked now looks small, soft, lost. Marcus steps forward. One step, two. The crowd parts like the Red Sea never forgot how. He stops right in front of the man who called him boy, close enough to smell the fear coming off Ethan in waves. See, Mr. Whittaker, Marcus says, voice soft enough to cut bone, your granddaddy wasn't like you, he saw me. Every night for 20 years he'd stop by my station, ask about my children, my church, my dreams. And when the cancer ate him down to nothing, he called me to his bedside. Not you, not your daddy, me. Said he slept better knowing the company he built would be in hands that knew the weight of honest work. He lets that settle, lets it burn. Ethan's mouth opens, closes, opens again. Nothing comes out but a small hurt sound. Marcus looks out over the sea of frozen faces, the same faces that laughed 30 seconds ago, and his eyes shine with something between mercy and judgment. So tonight, he says, I came to decide something, whether to walk in here and fire every last one of you for what you just did, or whether to teach you what my daddy taught me. He pauses. The silence is so thick you could spread it on bread. Dignity ain't something you take from a man, Marcus says, voice rising now, filling every corner of that glittering room. It's something he carries inside, and no mop, no joke, no camera phone can touch it if he don't let it. He looks down at the envelope, then back at Ethan, who looks suddenly like a little boy playing dress-up in his father's suit. Tomorrow morning, Marcus says, I start as chairman, and the first thing on my agenda is teaching this company what respect actually costs. He slips the envelope back inside his jacket, right over his heart, turns, and walks toward the grand staircase he's cleaned 1,000 times. Every step echoes. Nobody moves. Nobody breathes. At the top he pauses, looks back once more, eyes sweeping the room like a broom nobody can laugh at now. Clean up your own mess tonight, he says. Then Marcus Hayes disappears through the gold doors, leaving a ballroom full of millionaires on their knees, picking up broken glass and spilled champagne, wondering how the world just turned upside down in the space of one heartbeat. And somewhere outside, under streetlights that don't judge, a 63-year-old black man in a janitor's uniform walks tall into the night, carrying more power than money ever bought, carrying the kind of wealth that doesn't need a tuxedo to shine. Because some things, brothers and sisters, some things can't be bought, can't be mocked, and can't be taken. Only given back, one envelope at a time. The ballroom still reeks of fear and spilled champagne, but now the laughter is gone, replaced by the kind of hush that falls right before a storm breaks. Ethan Whittaker stands there, chest heaving, eyes wild, looking like a little boy who just realized the throne he's sitting on might actually belong to the man he tried to make crawl. Phones are still up, but nobody's smiling anymore. Marcus Hayes stands calm in the middle of it all, gray uniform, wrinkled at the knees from where he knelt, gold envelope now tucked back inside his jacket like a sleeping lion. The chandeliers keep glittering, but the light feels colder now, like it's shining on Grave. Ethan's voice cracks when he speaks again, higher than before, almost a whine. Security, he shouts, spinning toward the doors. Security, get this man out of here right now. He doesn't belong. He's nobody. Two big guards in black suits push through the crowd, shoulders wide, faces blank the way men paid to hurt people keep their faces blank. The guests part quick, scared to get touched by whatever's about to happen. One guard reaches for Marcus's arm. the other unclips a radio. The air gets tight. Somebody's breath catches loud enough for the microphones to hear. But Marcus doesn't move, doesn't blink, doesn't even look at the guards. His eyes stay locked on Ethan, steady as midnight. And in that stare is 20 years of weight, 20 years of memories flooding back so strong the whole room can almost see them flickering on the marble walls like an old film reel. You see it now. You see young Marcus, 43 years old, strong back, proud walk, coming home from Vietnam with medals he never hung up because the country that sent him didn't want him back the same way. You see him in 2004, sharp suit, tie knotted perfect, walking into this same building for an interview. Top of his night school class, engineering degree earned while raising 2 Barbies and working nights. The white manager barely looked at the resume. "We need somebody." "Reliable," he said, eyes sliding away. 2 weeks later, Marcus is pushing a cart because the position was filled by a 25-year-old nephew of somebody's golf buddy who still can't spell liability. Marcus swallowed it, took the janitor job, told his wife, "Long as the lights stay on and the Barbies eat, I'll clean whatever they put in front of me." You see the years roll, young executives stepping over his mop water without breaking stride, laughing about bonuses, while Marcus works overtime without pay because budget tight. You see them call him big guy when they can't remember his name. You see the day they laid off half the floor, grown men crying at their desks, and Marcus is the one who emptied their trash cans while they packed boxes, handing out tissues he paid for with his own money. You see the Christmas party where a drunk VP slapped him on the back and said, "You people sure can dance," like Marcus was the entertainment instead of the only reason the building didn't smell like a toilet. You see old Mr. Whitaker, the grandfather, watching from the corner sometimes, quiet, eyes sad, like he knew something nobody else did. Cut back to right now. The guards are 1 step away, their hands reach. Marcus lifts 1 finger, just one, and they freeze like somebody pressed pause. Then slow as Sunday morning, he pulls the envelope out again. The room leans in. He tears it open with the same calm he used to tear open acceptance letters his children brought home from college. Inside is not the ownership papers, not yet. Inside is something that hits even harder tonight. A single card, heavy cream stock, gold border, calligraphy so fancy it hurts to look at. Marcus Hayes, it reads in letters that shine. Guest of honor, Whitaker Foundation Gala. Seat at the family table. Approved by Mrs. Elena Whitaker herself. Ethan laughs, but it's hollow now, rattling in his throat. "Nice fake, Grandpa," he sneers, reaching out like he's about to snatch it. "You think we're stupid?" Marcus doesn't flinch. He just turns the card around so the gold Whitaker seal catches the light. Then he speaks for the first time since the storm started, voice low and rolling like thunder far off. "Check the guest list, Mr. Whitaker, the one your mama signed with her own hand last week." A woman in the front row pulls out her phone with shaking fingers, opens the digital program. Her gasp is soft, but it rips through the room anyway. She turns the screen so the people next to her can see. Marcus Hayes, table 1, right between Mrs. Elena Whitaker and the mayor. The same table Ethan is supposed to sit at. The same table he bragged about all night. Ethan snatches somebody else's phone, scrolls wild, eyes wide like he's looking for a lie he can grab hold of. The color drains from his face so fast you'd think death himself walked over and kissed him. His mouth opens, closes, opens again. Nothing comes out but a small hurt sound, like a child who just learned Santa Claus can bleed. Marcus steps closer. The guards step back without being told. He stops inches from Ethan, close enough for the younger man to smell the bleach on his sleeves and the iron in his spirit. "Your mama invited me personal," Marcus says, soft enough that only Ethan and God can hear, but somehow the whole room hears anyway. Said she wanted the man who took care of her daddy all those years to sit where he was always meant to sit. Said blood don't make family, loyalty do. Ethan's eyes fill up, not with tears of sorrow, with terror, because he's starting to understand the ground under his feet just turned to quicksand. The same people who laughed with him 5 minutes ago are now looking at him like he's contagious. Phones that were pointed at Marcus are pointed at Ethan now, catching every tremble. Marcus looks out over the crowd, voice rising just enough to carry. 20 years I cleaned up after all of you. 20 years I watched y'all step over my water, over my pride, over my dreams, and not one of you ever asked my name. He pauses, lets that settle. Tonight you learned it, and tomorrow every last one of you gonna learn how to say it right. He slips the invitation back into the torn envelope, tucks it inside his jacket again, right over his heart where the real papers sleep. Then he turns, slow, kingly, and starts walking toward the family table that's waiting for him at the front like it was built for this exact moment. The crowd parts wider this time. Some bow their heads. Some can't look at him at all. Behind him, Ethan stands alone in the middle of the floor, guards forgotten, power crumbling like cheap plaster. His reflection stares up at him from the wet marble. Marcus never did get to mop tonight, small, shaking, already shrinking. And somewhere in the silence, Mrs. Elena Whittaker stands up from table 1, old but straight-backed, eyes shining proud, and pulls out the chair meant for the guest of honor, the real king of the night. Because respect delayed ain't respect denied, y'all. Sometimes it just walks in wearing coveralls and carrying 40 years of patience in its pocket. And when it finally sits down at the table, everybody else better learn how to stand up straight. The night is young, and the chains some folks thought were invisible, they just turn to gold. The ballroom is a tomb now. Crystal glasses still sweat in nervous hands, but nobody drinks. The orchestra sits frozen, bows hovering above strings like they forgot how music works. Ethan Whittaker stands in the middle of his own wreckage, phone glowing white against his palm, thumb scrolling so fast it blurs. His eyes are wide, pupils blown, like a man staring straight into the sun after years in the dark. The screen shows the Whittaker Foundation donor page, the one nobody ever looks at because the money was always just there. At the very top, in bold letters that feel like a slap, lifetime benefactor Marcus A. Hayes, 15 years, $42 million, 400 full-ride scholarships for children the world threw away. Children from the same neighborhoods Ethan's family used to call the wrong side of the bridge. Ethan's breath hitches. He shakes his head once, hard, like he can shake the truth out of his skull. But the page won't change. The picture won't disappear. There he is, Marcus Hayes, younger, smiling quiet in a church suit, standing next to a line of graduating seniors holding signs that say "Thank you, Uncle Marcus." The same man who just knelt on this marble floor because Ethan told him to shine shoes with his knees. A low sound starts in the back of the room, almost a moan. It spreads. Phones rise again, but this time they're searching, scrolling, confirming. Whispered words float like smoke. That's him. That's the angel donor. He paid for my cousin to go to Howard. He paid for my daughter. One woman in emerald silk drops straight to the floor, knees hitting hard, tears already streaming because her son is pre-med at Morehouse right now and she never knew who carried them. The sound she makes is half sob, half prayer. Ethan's legs give out. He doesn't fall dramatic. He just folds, slow, like something inside him snapped. The phone slips from his fingers and clatters across the marble, screen still glowing with Marcus's name. He stays there on his knees, the same position he forced Marcus into minutes ago, only now the floor feels different. Cold. Real. His tuxedo jacket bunches around him like a child's costume that no longer fits. Marcus stands over him, gray uniform catching the light like it was sewn from iron and Sunday mornings. He doesn't gloat, doesn't smile. His eyes carry the weight of every child who walked across a stage because he worked doubles and skipped vacations and sold the land his daddy left him so somebody else's baby could be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer instead of another statistic. 400 futures. 400 mothers who cried happy tears at graduation. And one of those mothers is Ethan's own, standing now at table 1, hand pressed to her mouth, eyes shining with pride and shame all mixed together. Marcus speaks, and when he does the room goes quieter than it's ever been, quieter than money usually allows. "You wanted me on my knees, son," he says, voice soft as velvet and sharp as truth. "Funny thing is, I've been on my knees for years, praying your granddaddy lived one more day. praying the kids I put through school never found out their tuition came from the man mopping the 23rd floor, praying nobody ever had to bow to feel human. He pauses, lets it burn. See, your granddaddy knew my name the day I started, called me Mr. Hayes every single time. When the cancer got him, he made me promise to keep giving quiet, keep it anonymous, said his family needed to learn gratitude the hard way one day. Marcus looks around the room slow, meeting every eye that looked away from him for 20 years. Looks like today is that day. A tear slides down Ethan's cheek. He doesn't wipe it, can't move. His mouth opens, but nothing comes out except a broken whisper. I have a brother. The words are so small they almost disappear. Marcus nods once. Jamal, same daddy, different mama. Boy's 28 now. Graduated summer come Lord because somebody paid his way when your side of the family wouldn't claim him. He don't even know it was me. I made sure of that. Marcus's voice cracks just a little on the last part, the only crack he'll allow tonight. Wanted him to stand tall without owing any man. The orchestra conductor's baton slips from his fingers and clatters loud against the stage. The sound echoes like a gunshot. Nobody flinches. They're too busy watching a king in coveralls rewrite the story they all thought they knew. Mrs. Elena Whittaker walks forward now, slow, regal, 80 years old, but carrying herself like she's 20 and bulletproof. She stops beside Marcus, places one thin hand on his shoulder like she's knighting him right there in front of God and everybody. Then she turns to her grandson still crumpled on the floor. "Stand up, Ethan," she says, voice steady but shaking with something fierce. "You gon' stand up and look this man in his eyes and say the name you forgot he had." Ethan tries, his legs won't hold him. Two board members step forward to help, but Mrs. Whittaker lifts one hand and they freeze. This moment belongs to blood and truth. Ethan finally rises, swaying, tears cutting clean lines through the sweat on his face. He looks at Marcus, really looks, for the first time in 20 years. "I'm sorry," he chokes out. "Mr. Hayes, I'm so sorry." Marcus studies him for a long second. The room holds its breath so hard lungs start to hurt. Then Marcus does something nobody expects. He reaches out and cups the back of Ethan's neck, gentle, the way a father does a grown son who messed up bad. "Sorry is a start," Marcus says quiet, "but sorry don't graduate nobody. Sorry don't pay rent. You gon' learn the difference between saying it and living it." He lets go, steps back. The janitor uniform looks different now, taller, broader, shining like royal robes nobody else can see, but everybody feels. Marcus turns to the crowd, voice rising just enough to carry to the cheap seats and the expensive ones the same. "I didn't come here tonight for revenge," he says. "Came here because a promise is a promise, but the Lord don't waste a good storm. Sometimes he lets the wind blow just so folks finally see who've been holding the house up all along." He looks at the fallen baton, then at the orchestra, and gives the tiniest nod. The conductor scrambles, picks it up with shaking hands. The first violin lifts his bow, and for the first time all night, the music starts again, not the fancy rich people's song from before, but something slower, deeper, a spiritual, the kind of song that knows about valleys and mountaintops and knees that bend only to pray. Marcus offers his arm to Mrs. Whittaker. She takes it like it's the most natural thing in the world. Together, they walk toward the family table, past every bowed head, past every whispered apology that will never be enough. Behind them, Ethan stays standing in the middle of the floor, alone, learning what it feels like when the music plays for somebody else. And somewhere in the shadows, 400 invisible children who are children no more feel something shift in the air tonight. They don't know why yet, but tomorrow, when the news hits, they'll learn the name of the quiet angel who carried them. Because a name, y'all, when it's spoken right, when it's carried with honor, can stop the music, break the chains, and crown a king all in the same breath. And Marcus Hayes's name, it just did. The music has softened into something that feels like prayer, low and aching, the kind your grandma hummed while ironing on Sunday night. Marcus stands at the head of the room now, not on a stage, just on the same marble he's waxed 1,000 times, but tonight it might as well be Mount Zion itself. Mrs. Elena holds his arm like she's scared to let go, like she knows the second she does the world might forget again. Every eye is wet or trying not to be. The only sound is the quiet rustle of silk and the soft drop of tears hitting expensive shoes. And there still in the middle of the floor is Ethan Whittaker, 34 years old, heir to everything, owner of nothing real. His knees give out a second time, not from fear now, but from something heavier, something that finally cracked the shell he's worn since boarding school. He hits the marble hard, palms open, head bowed low, tuxedo pants soaking up spilled champagne and regret. The room draws a single breath and holds it. A grown man in a $10,000 suit is crying like his heart got brand new tonight and hurts from growing. "I'm sorry," he says, voice small, cracked wide open. "Mr. Hayes, I'm so sorry. I didn't know your name. I didn't know anything." The words come out ragged, each one costing him something money never bought. "I never looked. I never once looked." Marcus looks down at him for a long moment. No anger left in his eyes, just tired mercy, the kind only people who have carried crosses get to carry. He steps forward slow, shoes he shined himself this morning squeaking soft against the floor. Then he does something nobody in that ballroom will ever forget. Marcus Hayes, the man they laughed at, the man they stepped over, the man they tried to make crawl, reaches down and places one weathered hand on Ethan Whittaker's shaking shoulder. "Looking is the first step to seeing, Ethan," he says, voice low and steady, warm like church fans on a July morning. "And seeing is the only way to stop being blind." The touch lingers, father to son, teacher to student, past to future. Ethan's sobs quiet under that hand, like a child who finally heard the words he waited his whole life to hear. Ethan wipes his face with the sleeve of his tuxedo jacket, ruining Italian silk and not caring one bit. He stands, legs unsteady, but he stands, turns to the room full of people who clapped when he humiliated a king. His voice shakes, but it carries. "Effective right now," he says, "I'm stepping down as CEO of Whittaker Global. The company I thought was mine never really was." He looks at his grandmother, then at Marcus, eyes red but clear for the first time tonight. "I'm turning day-to-day control over to the Whittaker Foundation, the one Mr. Hayes built with his own hands while the rest of us were busy looking down. He don't want the title, and that's exactly why he's the only one who should have it." A ripple moves through the crowd, half gasp, half amen. Cameras flash, but softer now, almost respectful. Mrs. Elena nods once, proud and grieving all at once. She knows her husband picked the right man 20 years ago when nobody else could see. Marcus shakes his head slow, gentle, like he's turning down dessert after a lifetime of hunger. "I don't need a corner office, son," he says. "Some of us clean floors so others can walk taller. That's always been enough." He looks out at all the faces that finally see him, really see him, and his eyes shine with something peaceful. "My work here is finished. The rest is on y'all." He steps back, lets Mrs. Elena's hand slip from his arm. Then Marcus Hayes does the most powerful thing he's done all night. He turns, plain and simple, and walks the same path he came in, past the ice sculptures melting into themselves, past the champagne buckets sweating shame, past every bowed head that's too late and just in time. His gray uniform is wrinkled, his shoes still squeak, but his back is straighter than any spine in that room. The mop bucket sits abandoned by the staircase like an old skin he finally shed. He don't need it no more. At the golden doors he pauses, just once, looks back over his shoulder at Ethan still standing in the middle of the floor, holding the torn gold invitation like it's the Bible itself. Their eyes meet across the ballroom. No words, just a nod, small, deep, full of grace. Then Marcus pushes through the doors and disappears into the night, same way he's disappeared every night for 20 years, only this time the whole world watches him go. The orchestra lets the last note die natural. Nobody claps, nobody dares. Ethan stays right there, staring at the invitation, thumb tracing the raised letters of a name he'll never forget again. Marcus A. Hayes, guest of honor, savior in coveralls. Soft now, like a grandmother closing story time, the truth settles over the room and over every heart watching this. Never judge a man by the uniform he wears, the shift he works, or the floor he mops, because the measure of a person ain't in titles or bank accounts or who laughs loudest at the gala. True power don't shout. True power don't demand bows. True power walks quiet, gives silent, loves fierce, and when the time comes, stands tall enough for everybody else to finally grow a spine. Marcus Hayes never needed their spotlight. He was the light the whole time. And some kings, y'all, some kings wear crowns you can't see until you learn how to look with your soul. The doors swing shut behind him. The night swallows him gentle. But his name echoes long after the music stops, ringing through every hallway he ever cleaned, every life he ever lifted, every heart he just set free. Because real respect don't need a throne. It just needs a man who never forgot who he was, even when the whole world tried to teach him different. And that, brothers and sisters, is the kind of wealth that never fades. Fade to black on a single grey mop bucket, standing alone under the chandeliers, finally at rest.